Hello, Weiss Schwarz players, and welcome to another Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz deck tech by me, Brian. Today I'm going to talk about the quote-unquote meta Konosuba list, the primarily red one featuring Megumin with a splash of blue for some aquas. I'm here today with Carmen.
Yo, I'm here.
And let's kick it right off with the level zeros. To start with, I run 3 copies of Board Game Megumin, a free runner that on play also allows you to ditch a climax from your hand and salvage a character from your waiting room.
Broken.
Extremely broken card.
How much do they go for now? They're like normal ones are like approaching $25.
No, they're like 10 now. They dropped.
Are they? They dropped again?
Yeah.
Okay.
The triple rare one is like 50 something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This card is super strong due to the fact that it's relevant at every point in the game. At level 0, it pluses you by staying alive on the board. Later game, it allows you to filter extra climaxes out of your hand to get you the exact card that you need from your waiting room. Also at level 0, 4 copies of Swimsuit Megumin, a card necessary in order to run Detonative Dame, which I also run in this list.
Bad card. Mills a climax every time.
It prevents you from using backups and events from hand, although I don't run very many of those in this list. The only card that you need to be concerned about really is Seizure of Private Property, but by that time, Swimsuit Megumin is usually long gone from the board. Her other effect is, when she becomes reversed, you mill the top card of your deck. If that card is level 2 or higher, she may rest herself, which is a lot of the time invaluable for keeping her alive at the early stages of the game, maintaining board pressure, and keeping your hand full and bountiful.
It just mills a climax every time.
I mean, it does do that sometimes too. Also at level 0, 3 copies of Nuisance Megumin. On death Akatsuki, when she dies, you can discard a card from your hand.
For what, magic or adventure?
Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you get a magic character.
Magic only.
Just
okay.
magic trait only.
Okay.
Which is extremely strong for letting you either mill through your deck early for your plussing engine, Ambush Union here, which I'll talk about in a second, or simply milling through your deck to try to get better compression on your second deck. I run 4 copies of Ambush Union because this card is broken.
Yeah.
On play, it rickeys, pay 1, clock the top card of your deck, search for this Megumin finisher that I'll talk about in a little bit. She also has Resonate, pay 1, rest herself, reveal the same card from your hand, look at the top, up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose a magic or adventurer character from among them, and put it into your hand.
So you're telling me that you get to a Magi in main phase on first deck and plus super consistently. Something that no other deck in English gets to do.
You would be correct in that assumption, Carmen, yes.
Fucking hate Konosuba.
Yeah, the card is effectively a brainstorm that always hits.
Yeah. Just pay 1 plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. I think that's like the most ridiculous part of the deck.
Yeah,
I think.
no,
it's definitely Ambush Union.
It's stupid. Always run 4, never not 4.
Yeah.
I run 2 copies of this Megumin Drop Search. On play, pay 1, discard a card from your hand, search your deck for a magic or adventurer character. Oftentimes this card is used just to make sure that you find your Ambush Union and you're plussing efficiently in the early game.
That's a trial deck card, right?
It is a trial deck card, yes.
Yeah.
Last but not least, at level 0, I run 2 copies of Covered in Snot Aqua. When she's reversed, you mill the top 2 cards of your deck. If there is a level 2 or higher card among them, she sends herself to stock.
Pretty good.
Which, in a deck where you want to build up as much stock as possible and completely blow out your opponent during the last couple turns, this card is great.
Yeah, and it's your blue fix, right? So.
And it's a blue fix, correct? Yeah. All right, on to level 1.
How many zeros is that? I know it seemed like a lot.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 zeros.
Okay,
yeah.
I think that's pretty typical for Konosuba lists now.
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, like 17 or 18.
I don't want to, yeah, you can't really run much more than that due to the fact that you have so many cards that rely on hitting level 3s. But
yeah.
Alright, on to level 1. The level 1 combo, 4 copies of Bunny Girl Union. She combos with this Gate, Light of Saber.
Shiny.
She sits at 6k if all of your characters are magic trait. On reverse, she blind stalks the top card of your deck and then reveals the next card. If that card is level 1 or higher, she adds it to your hand. I feel like most of the time she stalks a climax, but that's okay. Konosuba just wants stock anyway.
Well, it's okay if it doesn't screw you over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you're running so many level 1s and higher that the plus is pretty consistent.
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, she hits a climax a lot of the time, but she'll stock a climax and then top check also a climax.
Yeah, so you have 2 climaxes in there on the first attack, so they're buried up there.
Yeah, she does do that.
Yeah, that's unique.
But aside from that, sitting at 6k is really strong, and attacking for 7k with climax is pretty standard for unreverse combos these days. Also at level 1, I run 3 copies of Nice Explosion Megumin. She is a level 1 reverser bomb that has hand encore. So she can bomb pesky targets like 1/1 standby targets, for example, and then keep herself alive to threaten another reverse during the next turn.
It's worth noting, since like Konosuba kind of taps out at power at 7k, the Megumin's kind of invaluable for getting over things at 1 that break that.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, and that is it for level 1.
Pretty light level 1 game.
Yeah, really.
You're not running the Shaken backup?
Not in this list, no.
Okay. Interesting.
I feel like my problem with the Shaken backup is, as good as it is, it's still a waiting room early play counter, and you have to ditch half your hand for it, where most of the game you want to be setting up for your finisher. A lot of the time...
Very valid.
Yeah, a lot of the time with Konosuba anyway, you want to be spending your resources on early playing Dame or something to contest board. But we'll get to that in a minute, after I talk about my only level 2 card in this deck. This one.
Seizure
of Private Property.
Tell us all about that broken card, Brian.
This card is a level 2, cost 3 backup event that takes away all of your opponent's stock and gives it back to them at the end of the turn.
Off the top of their deck.
Off the top of their deck, correct. So, this card is extremely beneficial for doing regular stock swaps. For example, if your opponent is just stockpiling stock and it's all clean, you can discard it all and then rip all of their climaxes out of their deck into their stock, as you would with a typical stock swap. Or, since this card can be played as a backup, you can use it to take away all of your opponent's stock when they're going for a important combo during their turn that requires stock, such as Birdcage Diva Yukina, or other cards along those lines. I'm coming up blank.
Anything, yeah. I mean, like, as anything that's on reverse, right? You get to screw over, or anything that requires them to have more than 1 stock before they attack.
Yeah, exactly.
With another lane.
Yeah, so this card is extremely invaluable in this list. And if Konosuba were to be hit with a ban list of any kind, this card would likely be one of the first cards hit.
It's also worth noting that with the Aqua Fumio, because those cards sit in waiting room and aren't instantly replaced from the top of their deck, you get to really brick their deck like really hard, because you get to put all those cards back into their deck before they would come off the top.
That's correct, yeah. Speaking of the Aqua Fumio, that's what I'm going to talk about next here. This 3/2 Aqua, on play, pay 1, do the Fumio effect. If you don't know what the Fumio effect is, your opponent chooses 2 climaxes in their waiting room to keep out and shuffles back every other card in their waiting room into their deck. Like Carmen was saying, that synergizes well with this card, which takes all of your opponent's stock and puts it in their waiting room. If there were no climaxes in their waiting room, they now have a bunch of extra clean cards in their waiting room, which are now shuffled back into their deck, which correlates to a lower rate of compression and a higher rate of you sticking damage and being stupid like Konosuba does. Also at level 3, I flashed this earlier, but I run 4 copies of Detonative Dame. It early plays at level 2 if you have a copy of Swimsuit Megumin in your clock. On play, you mill the top 3 cards of your deck and do a variety of effects based on the number of characters you hit.
In order.
In order, correct. Among those 3 cards. If you only hit 1, you get to blind stock the top card of your deck. If you hit 2, You get to blind stock the top card of your deck and give one of your opponent's characters in the front row minus 4,000 power. And if you're lucky enough in Konosuba to have all 3 of those cards be characters, your opponent takes 1 damage. It happens more often than you'd think.
Whatever you say, Brian. Dame sucks.
I run 3 copies of Mesmerizing Water Goddess Aqua.
There's a good card.
She early plays if you have 4 other characters on the field. She also, on play, allows you to discard a card from your hand and put the top card of your clock into your stock. She also gets 2,000 power during your turn, yes?
Yeah. She'll swing for 11k.
She swings for 11k. She heals to stock. She hand filters you, and she early plays and contests sport at level 2. Solid card all around the board.
Just like a free play condition, too. Like free play condition.
Yeah, full board is a free early play condition, especially for on a level 3.
Yeah.
It's a little harder with the Joker in P5, but at level 2. But I run 2 copies of Powered Up Explosion Magic Megamine. This card is broken.
Yeah, very much so. You only see it run at 2 or 3 in lists, but that doesn't mean it's not busted.
Yeah, that's all you need. You only need 1 in your hand for your endgame. It gets 500 power continuously for all of your other adventurer or magic characters, so it sits at 11.5 with a full board. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, here's the kicker effect. You're able to choose any character in your hand with a level equal to or lower than your current level and also put it into play. So a nasty thing you can do is drop this down, pull this down from your hand for free, and then pay 1 and use the Fumio effect.
So for 3 stock, you get 2 level 3s and a Fumio effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that works well with this card. You can drop it from hand and heal. Or it works well with their finisher here that I'm about to show. Megamine herself. Climax combos with this Stoxel. When this card comes into play, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 card from among them, and put it into your hand. She digs through your deck for her own Climax. If you don't have it, you can take any card. And her Climax combo, when the Climax is out, at the start of your attack step, you can pay 1, rest her, deal 4 damage to your opponent, and then shoot the character across from it on the stage into your opponent's clock.
Worth noting, you do have to choose it, so it loses to hexproof. Good old Big Armin.
It also requires that the character across from it be level 3 or lower, so if it has +1 level from any source, it also can't be chosen due to the fact that it is no longer level 3 or lower.
So yeah, so there are ways for you to play around it on board. It's just that some sets don't have access to those tools.
The most common counterplay to this card is simply crashing your entire board so there's no target to clock shoot.
In which then you get Fumio'd and burn 5 by the 3rd effect of Power Explosion Magic.
I did forget to mention this card's 3rd effect. When it attacks, you can pay 3 and ditch 2 cards from your hand and burn your opponent for 5.
Which seems bad until you realize that you probably also played a Fumio with that card. And there's a higher chance that 5 will stick. It's still a little sacky, but a lot better than 5 just raw.
So as an overview, the game plan of this deck revolves around stockpiling as many resources, as much stock, as much hand size as you can possibly gain.
At any cost.
Pushing your advantage all game with this and the Union level 1 combo. Have as much stock as possible going into your endgame. Throw down some combination of like these cards usually.
And just kill your opponent for 2/2.
Shuffle all of your opponent's stuff back into their deck, take their stock away, and then burn them for 4, burn them for 5, whatever you have the resources for. But a lot of the time, if this deck is doing well, it will kill your opponent from the middle of level 2.
Yeah, this is like...
Which is just a little bit degenerate.
Like, would you say that... I mean, there was a thread on Global a bit ago about how asking if people think Konosuba is the boogeyman of the English format, and do you think so? Because I'm inclined to agree at this point.
I think Konosuba has an extremely strong presence, and a lot of decks don't have the resources to push back as hard as they need to against Konosuba. I agree with that. The only thing that's stopping Konosuba from running completely rampant is Attack on Titan.
And yeah, that's really funny. Everybody complains about AOT being so like over centralizing and stuff like that. But if we lost AOT, Konosuba would be just even more ridiculous. And I already hate sitting across from this deck when I'm playing anything but AOT. Like very few decks can like kind of turn off Konosuba like AOT can.
Yeah, they run out of the way of Union. You can't get your reverses. They shroud up their front row. You can't clock shoot. It
just feels so bad for like you're outplaying all game, and then like it doesn't, like your opponent's literally just has to like crash and rush you all game, and then it doesn't matter because like they just do all these things that you can't interact with, and then they destroy you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
and stuff like that.
If your opponent can't put enough pressure on against Konosuba, they build resources for free, and then it's just an inevitability that they kill you.
Yeah. It's like the most consistent deck at closing the game from mid to the end game. Where like a lot of decks, like I think Bang Dream's super consistent at closing from 3-0, stuff like that. Konosuba just closes games even earlier, like as low as like 2-1 or 2-2. I've seen people die from with Brandon luck.
Yeah.
But
there is counterplay, but it's
all in the mid game, right? Like
it's a little slam, yeah.
You have to like deny Union. Like that's your, because Union is like,
yeah, you have to deny Union.
Like despite Union being such a powerful combo in this deck because it builds stock and has a chance to plus you.
Pluses your hand, yeah.
Yeah, like because all their cards are good, so you're happy to get any card, and the fact that Union can hit on Seizure because it only cares about the level of the card you flip.
Yep.
So like their only whiffs in their deck are their zeros and their climaxes. So you have to like deny Union to have a chance of beating Konosuba in some way. Like, so you have to either be outside the 7k threshold or deny reverse in other ways.
Yeah, I mean, so if you prepare decently well with backups, you usually can deny on reverse combos if you prepare. But triple Union,
well, I don't know. Crashing your board against Konosuba, like 0 going into 1, is usually pretty bad because then they'll field out the bombs. And if you have an on reverse combo, then you're losing out again because then you're giving them free swings with zeros to build.
You are correct.
Yeah. So. Yeah, just a really strong deck, like we keep saying.
All in all, yeah, deck is busted.
Yeah, 42 broken cards and 8 climaxes. Well, 46 gates broken.
Yeah, Konosuba story.
Konosuba story. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I think that's about it, right?
That's it for Konosuba.
All right, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like we always say, we're trying to do all these deck techs. If you have a specific one you'd like to see next, let us know. Leave a like, leave a comment, and that's it for us. Pittsburgh White Schwartz signing off.